Welcome, everyone, to our January 14th, 2025 Town of Selma Council Meeting 2 here in the Jernigan Building. We are just crossing over 6 p.m. and we've got a decent little agenda in front of us this evening. But first and foremost, we've got a few special guests with us tonight. So to start off, we have, for our invocation, Pastor Stephen Walker of Parish Memorial Church here with us this evening. If you would, come up, talk a little bit about your church and bless us with an invocation.
Thank y'all for allowing me to come and do this. I think it's a great idea to have local pastors come and offer invocations. I'm the pastor of Parish Memorial Baptist Church. We are that way, out in the country. If you know where the Cardinal Country Club is, then you know where Parish Memorial Baptist Church is, because we're right across the street from there. I used to tell people that, and I thought maybe we sounded pretentious to say we were right across from the country club. Then I reminded them that country club was on a dirt road. But now the dirt road has been paved, so I can't say that anymore. But we're back there, and so I've been the pastor there for 17 years. So 17 years I've been the pastor there. Great little congregation, just simple people, and invite y'all to come anytime you want to for that.
So if everybody would please stand.
Let's pray together. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come before you. Lord, I pray that you would be with the mayor and with the council members and with the staff. Lord, that you might help them and guide them to do things and to make decisions in a way that would be pleasing to you. Lord, I pray that you would bless Selma, that you would lift this place up, and Lord, that you would let Selma be prosperous, that you would let it be safe, Lord, that you would just see your will done here. Lord, I pray for each person here. I pray that you would bless them, and Lord, I pray that you'd be glorified in this meeting. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. And we do need to actually get our Pledge of Allegiance, and we have a rock star here with us this evening that I always put on the spot to start us off in the Pledge of Allegiance, because he's the man with the plan. Commissioner Ted Godwin is here, y'all. If you don't mind, Commissioner.
No, I thought you were going to call on a middle school student.
Yeah, that's right.
Would please face the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Got an agenda to take a look at before we get rolling into this thing. I do know that we do need to make a few adjustments to this agenda. So with that, starting off, staff, what do we have that we know of off the top of our heads?
Six for presentations, and then move all the other numbers down. That'll be a reevaluation discussion.
Very cool. Very good. And then I know that I need to address, since what will be 12 now in the mayor's report and recommendations, we've got a petition for a stop sign, three-way stop sign at West Walnut and West Elizabeth. And then we have a request from the Selma Islamic Center related to 107 West Waddell Street. Are there any other adjustments that need to be made to this agenda? Good. All right, council, did we have anything else we want to add or subtract? With that, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We have ourselves an agenda. On the consent agenda, we've got a budget amendment number 5 from FY 24-25. And we've got a request for a public hearing related to electric rider number 2. sounds exciting. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We've got ourselves a consent agenda, and that leads us into 6, a discussion that Commissioner Ted Godwin has joined us for about the reevaluation happening through this year for Johnston County related to property tax values. Commissioner Godwin, if you would take it away, kind of tell us about how we got here, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Always glad to get an opportunity to maybe clear the air. I know there's been a lot of confusion. Can everybody hear me? Because this is for the audience as well as you guys. Excuse me. The legislature in the state has required that every county reevaluate their real estate at least every 8 years. Most folks have adopted a quicker schedule. 51 counties now have set it at 4 years. The last time we revalued property was in 6 years ago. The next time we anticipate doing it will probably be 4 years from now. And the whole idea is to reset, readjust the property values on the books to bring about some element of fairness. When folks in one part of the county experience rapid appreciation, and maybe parts of the other county don't experience that rapid appreciation, gets out of balance. And so that's why we revalue the properties. And over a period of time, of course, things change. This particular time, it has changed dramatically. And we've had a lot of feedback from citizens, to say the least. I got one the other day, and I responded to the guy after he gave a very thoughtful explanation of what we should have done. And I thanked him for, I said, it's refreshing to get an feedback without hatred and vitriol. But it comes with the territory, I guess. Everybody's misunderstanding, I think, a lot of people are misunderstanding. This value of your property, it has to do with the tax bill you'll face, but it's an intricate part of it. Years ago, some people were under the mistaken assumption that there was a formula to compute the tax value of a property as opposed to market value. That's not right. When our folks look at the property value, it's as if a realtor's looking at it. Now, with 120,000 parcels, you can't go through and kick the tires and slam the doors. Most of it's what we call a windshield appraisal. And a lot of folks have complained that, well, they didn't even come out and look at my property. Well, they probably did. They had a tax card in front of them. They knew the dimensions of your property from our existing records. If it's a new house, it went through an inspection process. So they've got all that data. They know how many square feet. They're just going out there to make sure it's still there, not deteriorated, and it's there. Again, it's a windshield appraisal. It's not perfect. That's why there's appeal processes. And the way this whole thing unfolds is the appraisal company, which is a large organization, this is a large task. It's been going on for over a year. And they come up with a market value for each of these 120,000 parcels. During this year, our staff will develop a budget, as you guys will develop a budget based on that value, using that as your base. And then you'll look at your budget, look at your past revenue history, and come up with a tax rate to be applied to that new increased base. I've tried to explain to citizens that I don't expect to be a whole lot of difference between the check you wrote last year and the check you'll have to write this year. It could vary this year because of the dramatic changes in some people's property values. Those east of 95 are seeing the largest increase. The market is catching up over there. It's already been in Clayton and Cleveland area. They only had 40 to 50, 60% increases. Bentonville is 106%. Princeton is about 92 to 95% increase. I live between here and Micro and Selma ETJ. Mine went up about 56%. And what that means is the whole county's average was 70.6%, I think it was. If your new value is less than 70% greater than the old value, chances are you might not see any increase. And if your value is more than 70%, you might see an increase in your tax bill. And then again, it's getting to some equalization. The folks with the bigger, more expensive houses pay more taxes. That's normal, that's natural. The history of what we've had for the last 6 years, we've had no change in value unless you changed your house, added to it or something. So the base has been the same for 6 years, but we've been able to drop our property taxes in the county 4 times. The city may be different, that's a totally different animal. You've got more different things going on. But in county, we've dropped it 4 times during this 6-year period of time. So that means your taxes to the county has been going down for the last 6 years, unless your fire tax might have changed a little bit. Now we've got a different base. Over that period of 6 years, we've had a budget and we've had revenues. At the end of the year, we didn't have to change the taxes upward because the growth in the base, just the normal growth, covered that increase in needs and expenses. And I suspect that will happen again even without this revaluation. And what I project, and this is Ted Godwin, this is not board action, understand that. It's what we think is going to happen. If we look at everybody talks about our net revenue rate. In other words, can you compare apples to oranges here? If the values change, what would the new tax rate need to be same? Well, no year has been the same. We've always have an increase in expenses. We've got a bigger county, more things going on, bigger expenses. But it's averaged about 6.5% to 7%. So I think our board is going to try to look at what was our budget last year. We'll arrive at a budget this year. It may be 8-10% higher, but look at our revenue stream and assume an increase of say 6 to 7%, and then back into a rate based on this new elevated base in market value. What does that rate need to be to cover that budget? And again, if the average is 70.6%, those under that might even have a lower tax bill, and those over that will have a higher tax bill. I hope that sort of explains it. This thing unfolds slowly, and there'll be some changes coming about, and that's what I wanted to speak on here. If you're not in agreement, hey, this can't be right, this is wrong, there's ways to appeal it. If you contact the tax office, you can go into the office and sit down in front of somebody and say, hey, this ain't right. Give you an example. A fellow I know has got 25-acre tract. It's got planted in trees. Well, he bought an acre behind a neighbor. No road frontage, it's just got trees on it too. Well, the assessment team looked at it and says, oh, that's a 1-acre lot, $40,000. Well, all of this land is $12,000. That's what they assessed it, evaluated it. Well, I think he's got a fair argument to go over there and say, hey, wait a minute. I just never changed that deed, but it's the same parcel. You know, if this is worth 12 an acre, why isn't that worth 12? That's a logical argument. Most of the people in the staff over there say, don't just come in with an idea in your head. Come in with some facts and figures and something to support your argument. If the data we have is wrong, you just need to bring that to our attention. This thing says my house has 2,400 square feet. I only got 1,900 square feet. That's an error. That needs to be changed, and they can do that at the staff level. If though you say my neighbor's house sold recently for $200,000, my house is smaller and you've got it valued at $250,000. I don't know how to compare that unless you've got an appraisal or some factual basis to go in there and make that argument. If the staff can't satisfy you, then you always have the right to appeal to the E&R Board, Equalization and Review Board. They meet, I think the first time they'll meet is in April. I used to be on that board, and they have scheduled hearings, and you go in and sit down as citizens, just like everybody here. Members of that board, there's one from each commissioner district sits on that board. And they listen to the arguments, listen to the staff, and they listen to the citizens, say, hey, this 1 acre should be taxed just like these other 25 acres. And they make a determination. And if that still doesn't satisfy the citizen, he can always appeal it to the Revenue Department in Raleigh. That's sort of a last resort. but there's avenues to change it. And again, though, to overreact right now would be premature, because once we set the budget and establish a rate, then you know where you stand as far as your tax bill. But if you're gonna appeal it, for obvious reasons, there's something wrong here, you need to go ahead and start that process as soon as possible and get in front of the tax assessors, the appraisers, and the staff over there. They're very welcoming. They understand this process, that people are gonna get it wrong. Anytime you're looking at a property through a windshield, is it trashed inside? Is it a Taj Mahal inside? There's no way to know that. And with 120,000 parcels, you really gotta take a guess at it, really. It's an educated guess. But if there's anybody got any questions, Mayor, if you allow me, I'll be glad to take any questions that people might have.
Yes, we'll open the floor for questions from the
Anybody, any
audience. If there are any questions, and if you do have a question, come on up to the microphone and ask your question in the microphone so they can be heard by our audience out in digital world.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you for the information. And to add to that conversation, again, there is that layer of county taxes, and for town of Selma residents, there's that layer of town taxes as well. And historically, as we have seen the county lower their tax rate, we have somewhat adjusted our tax rate a little bit higher to match the county's adjustments. I cannot speak for the board at this point in time. We are going to start looking at budget here this week. But with this reevaluation, depending on what the county does, I don't see us raising taxes at any point during this process, simply because values are higher. And now, don't hold me to this because this is just one man speaking. There might be an opportunity to even lower taxes during this reevaluation as well. But again, we are all going to look at what is needed, budgetary needs for the town of Selma when it comes to our tax rate as well, just as the county looks at their budgetary needs as they look to adjust tax rates just the same. The environment has changed in Johnston County, and we must recognize that, and we must respond to that with facts, data, and financial common sense. We cannot wish that things were different because reality is what it is. We are seeing growth in Johnston County. New amazing things are coming to Johnston County. Infrastructure needs, safety infrastructure needs are increasing at a rapid pace, and we must keep up to make sure that we can provide for our citizens, for our businesses that want to come into this county, and for our industry that wants to come into this county. So with that being said, are there any other questions, any comments, anything that needs to be addressed relating to this reevaluation process through this fiscal year? Commissioner Ted Godwin, thank you again. Being able to pop in on a moment's notice when we have questions. And beyond that, I appreciate the struggle right now. I hear your seat at Bojangles has been moved slightly. So God bless you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. We have open forum citizens request. Looks like we don't have any actual signups for that open forum citizens request. Do we have anybody, since we don't have any signups, just open the floor real quick. Does anybody want to speak as part of open forum citizens request? Going once, going twice. Moving right along, down to 8, public hearings and appeals. We got a text amendment to Article 4, Historic Districts. Who's going to talk to us about that? Hey, Mike.
Hey, good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you all for this opportunity tonight. A brief conversation about staff level approvals in regards to issuing COAs, or certificates of appropriateness, for the historic districts here in town. We need to open the hearing.
Do you have a motion to open the public hearing related to Chapter 17, Article 4, Permissible Uses, Section 17-420?
So moved.
Second.
We'll give that second to Councilman Whitley. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is open. Take it away, sir.
All right, so if you'll remember, last month, before the holidays, we spoke about the staff is looking for an approval of a minor and major works list, or staff level approvals, again regarding issuing COAs. Let me flip my page here. Some context here. As of now, all projects that involve any exterior modifications to properties in any of our 3 historic districts are required to go before the Appearance Commission to receive any determination of approval and/or denial. If this list is adopted in ordinance, it will not only help applicants receive their COAs faster, but it'll also save staff time and will ensure that the Appearance Commission has more time during their meetings for items of major concern. So if you'll notice, we now have the ordinance prepared for you on page 11. And I do want to point out there is a typo there. That should be, I put meeting 1 date. It should be meeting 2, today's date. But you'll see that list there of the minor and major works. And then there was already a section in the UDO. Let me find it there. Yes, there was already some language in place, but now we would have a definitive list to refer to when applicants come in wanting to change something small on the property, like if somebody wanted to put in a tankless water heater on the back side of the house, right? Something small. But if you have any questions, I'll be glad to field them.
I have one.
Yes, sir.
So I noticed in there that in order to remove hedges or cut hedges, you gotta get a permission.
Yes, sir. So you would still need a COA, but for some items it would be, I could approve them at the staff level, or some items again would go to the board, the Appearance Commission.
So that includes if I wanted to plant hedges as well?
I'd have to find that exact section, but I do believe I remember seeing that in here. And again, that's why we wanted to bring it to you guys in case you had any suggestions or alterations to it.
So basically, correct me wrong, most anything that in the historical district has to get approved. Is that correct?
Sorry, what was that?
Basically, in a historical community, if you do anything, you gotta get approval of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So there's nothing in the, yes, there's nothing in the, as far as the type of work, the type of requested thing that's new. All that is requiring a COA that you see now. It's just giving that responsibility to staff and all of that.
Okay.
I would make a suggestion to this, because looking at particularly the staff report kind of brought this to my mind. The proposed list is aimed at helping residents receive their COAs in a more expedited manner. First, I think we should remove anything related to Harrison from this completely. The amount of stakeholders that are involved with Harrison, people that went to the school in the past, people that don't live here anymore, I think that deserves significant scrutiny no matter what we do to that campus. Because there are people that live in Maryland, Washington, D.C., New York that want to be made aware of major changes that would be coming to that historic site. I would also suggest that we take the downtown historic district out of that as well, for a very similar reason, that it's in our minds as a town, that's almost a park area to us, where if somebody on the sidewalk doesn't realize we need to talk to somebody before we do something, some interesting things could happen, and then we would leave staff to be flapping in the wind in that conversation, which I think would be irresponsible of us, to be honest with you.
Certainly.
How do we feel about that, council, taking out the downtown and the Harrison districts and just leaving in the West Historic, which is where our residents actually are related to that conversation?
Sounds good. Like I said, mostly we'd be really looking at the homes
The
as a
homes.
whole. You know,
That's
that's what we're looking at homes.
It's hard. In fact, the hedge question I like a lot, because I'd even like to go back and see how much scrutiny we put on people's hedges, because that's a little much to me.
Yeah.
So with this conversation, somebody make a note, let's go back and look at hedges and trees and things like that. If people are telling me not to cut hedges in my yard, I might have a concern. So let's do look at that, but that would be my recommendation for this particular piece.
So if you exclude Harrison, that means that it's outside of the historical.
No. Harrison cannot be no approvals can be made at the staff level. That still has to come to the appearance commission.
Thanks for
Same thing
clarifying.
for the, yes, sir. Same thing for the downtown historic district.
That works. We can certainly make those changes and bring them back to you.
Okay. Do we want to make a motion approving it with those amendments, or do we want to hold off and see it on paper?
I like to see it.
And while we're doing it, let's look at the, we did. While we're looking at it, let's look at that hedge tree bush conversation as
Got it.
well, kind of tighten that up with a bow. And then I would say that, do I have a motion to recess this public hearing related to, Article 4, permissible use of section 17-420?
So moved.
I second.
Any discussion there? Do we need a date for? All right, and to amend that motion for meeting number 2 in February, do I have a motion to that effect?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion there? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's what we'll do, meeting 2 in February, and we'll tweak that up.
That sounds good.
Fantastic.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, moving right along, business items, we've got under 9A, welfare check policy. We are just going to take a look at that, do some polishing up with that piece as well. I know Councilwoman Watson had some questions and she's unable to be here tonight. And Councilman Overby wanted to add to that conversation as well. So let's take a look at the current welfare check policy and then do some tweaking, but we will not take action on it this evening. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, so who wants to take it away, welfare check policy?
I'll just give you an update of where we're at. Staff was asked to look at, the welfare check policy for folks that have not had, power. This is an extended period of time. It's, a couple of days, late back cut off. So, finance and police department got together and wrote this together, and what they came up with, and they actually practiced, unofficially practiced this over the cold weather Friday, Saturday night, Saturday morning.
But I'm concerned it's got a month or more before anybody goes out and look at it. In the very first, in the issue action, it's there. It's also spelled out as well. It'll take a whole month before if we wait a month, person could be froze or dead by the time we get there.
Now, is that thought a reflection of us understanding, being able to assess whether or not their power is back on within a month, or is it just we're going to wait a month before we poke into the conversation? Staff.
There's long-term outages of what we're asking to get,
Mm-hmm.
not something that's going on a day or two, and gets basically get it cut off, and cut it back on, because, number one, there's a lot of those. I think we had 4 or 5 that were what I would consider long-term. Those that were, worried about because they hadn't had power well over.
So is it legal to go a month without power, lights, or heat? Is it legal for someone to do that? Yeah.
You got to pay for your services.
I understand that.
Yeah, and that is an interesting question. There's no criminal aspect or misdemeanor aspect to not having power on it, Jeremy, is there?
It would be more of a civil action, whether or not the home is habitable in a habitable condition. I don't know if the town regulates that or if that's more of the Johnston County inspections getting involved where they do, condemnations and put those notices up there. Do we know if we have staff who does those type of?
We don't do internal.
Minimum housing, just talking about that.
That's gonna be
We report it to.
with the county. Okay, so it would likely fall under the county.
And I think I gather where you're going with that question, particularly with a month. So if we do have situations where we know, say, particularly elderly folks live or folks that have medical equipment that is required for life at their home, power goes out. I know you were asking, do we have a list of some sort that's part of our cutoffs that says, hey, this person's on a ventilator? And then B, how do we address that related to power being out as well?
What the policy, but this is what happens, is, any citizen, any customer can bring in, there's a form fill out, doctors have to sign it. We call it medical seal, I mean, also, we don't know where the term comes from, it's from way back.
I can tell
But
you,
that person that then becomes on a list, that they are, there's something that is required in the oxygen, generators or what have you. And that is not, there's a little confusion on there, that does not say they'll never lose power. That means they get a little extra time and they get a notification. Hey, you're late and you're past the due date, and, they get a little bit of extra time. But that does not include them for paying their light bill and having power.
so the electric seal came in a long time ago, so it was put on the meter outside. So it was identified if you had special needs that you couldn't lose power. So
So now
have we stepped that up now since we gone electronically?
So it's not on a seal like a visual seal anymore, it's on a list, it's in our data system. That if this one comes up as being on the cutoff list, hey, this is on a medical seal, it's flagging our system.
So you would see it real quick.
Yeah.
So in our metering system even, we have notes on those accounts as well.
Okay.
Well, with that, like I said, I know Councilwoman Watson had a question that she was not able to ask this evening, so we certainly won't take any action on it this evening. But that's a good discussion to introduce us to it. We'll bring it back to, do we prefer meeting 1 or meeting 2, council?
One is probably better.
Go ahead and get on 1.
It depends. Depends on our last one. It's pretty loaded, so
Well,
Sooner the better, the longer we get it over with.
I'm fine
That's
with
true.
it. Either one, I'm okay.
let's shoot for meeting 1. If we do find it to be hefty, we'll adjust. Okay? Thank you very much. That brings us down to 9B, the Library Code of Conduct. Let's talk about it.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So looking back at things, as far as I can tell, there wasn't a lot of written policies for the library, so I just want to make sure that the library is covered as far as conduct. That way we can make sure it's a welcoming environment, for the citizens of Selma, and that we can provide the needs, that the library is there for. So this is just a overview of a code of conduct of how we expect our patrons to act while they're in the library, and what we will do if they are not acting accordingly.
Council, do we have any questions about this code of conduct?
Just don't hesitate, call for help when you need it.
Amen. Council, do I have a motion to approve this library code of conduct?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's your first one, right? That's your first code, right?
That's my first one. Yes. I don't have a whole list for you guys tonight. That'll be next meeting. I
Well,
got
I'm talking about that's the library's first code that you know of.
that I know of.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, thank you so much. All right, let's see. I think that brings us into 10, Town Attorney's Report. Do we have anything fantastic?
We do not, unfortunately.
Oh, what can you do? What can you
Let
do?
me ask a question.
Yeah.
Did we come in? Session ago?
We recess.
Do recess.
We recess, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir,
Appreciate it.
yes, sir. Absolutely.
You're right.
Council members' report and recommendations. We'll start with Mayor Pro Tem and we'll swing around.
Short meeting.
Yes, sir.
Well, again, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Don't have a whole lot to say, but I want to, sometimes you sit around, you hear things, you say, well, maybe it have slipped people's minds, so just a few points here. Came with this council in 2019, and at that time, all 7 was close to the town. The biggest problem was then talking about a concrete slab on Anderson Street. A couple months later, I went downtown and at the ice cream shop there then, I was standing out front of that ice cream shop. Here come a car down Rayford going south. And instead of parking on the really right side of the road, pulled across and parked right in front of the ice cream shop in the opposite direction. Kept his car running, went into the ice cream shop, come back out. And now we get people complaining about, parking spaces. When he come out, he's like I said, well, there's no cause to worry about because there wasn't any business going on downtown. So this why I said we complain about things and we got to think back and say, hey, 2019, 2024. You have maybe 5 or 6 stores downtown. People go park anywhere. I haven't seen a car do a U-turn downtown. Try it now. So what I'm saying is that we do things in this town not to just stay put, but to try to advance. And we are advancing, but we're not satisfied. And obviously, I always say, people come give me your opinion, tell me what's going on. But when you come to me and say, well, this is going wrong, I say, okay, so what you suggest? Don't come to me and tell me what should be done, not do anything. I listen to the one that's trying to do something, but not those that do nothing. Okay? So, and the benefit when people come about selling this is that if it's helping Selma, North Carolina as a whole, we can talk. Because we're not talking about self. We're talking about Selma. So don't come to me. Now this just Joe Scarborough. Don't come to me talking about what I want to do for myself. I don't want to hear that. It is how would it benefit the whole town of Selma. We can talk and we can have discussion. But bring me your facts and everything we come talking to me about. We want this, want this, want this, want this, and we done this for this one, this for that one. It don't matter. It's what can we do for you? You tell me your problem. We'll work on your problem. And it benefit the town of Selma. And in one nutshell, that's all well and good. But it's only for the selfish gain of you. I don't want to hear that either. Now, this is just Joe Scarborough. Thank you.
So, Councilwoman,
Good evening. I want to talk about fireworks and gunshots. I received a call and text concerning the fireworks and gunshots heard on New Year's Eve. A phone call to 911 was encouraged by me. A phone call was made and Selma PD responded. The town of Selma does have an ordinance concerning fireworks and the shooting of your firearms. Within that ordinance, one can be subject to a civil penalty. Our citizens can make a difference when you phone 911 immediately while it's happening. And for those who are apprehensive about phoning 911, you can stay anonymous. They will take your phone call. Our police department is here for all, and phoning 911 serves many functions. Of course, it is to help. However, on the back end, it also serves as a tracking system for our entire community and county, which serves us with more services and more help. I think about our friends, neighbors, and citizens who have small children and those who go to work the next day. The one major aspect of fireworks are embers. What would happen if a home, deck, structure was to catch on fire? It could happen. Being in town means we live in close proximity to one another. It concerns me, and I know it concerns others. Some might say, well, oh, Amy, you're ruining or raining on someone's parade. But I say, we live in town. Shooting guns and fireworks are illegal, and there could be tragic consequences. There is certainly a reason why one lives in town versus that of the country. I'm sure there will be more aggressive steps taken to enforce the ordinance, but it's going to take all of us to make that difference. We can assist our police department and have a better quality of life. thank you, and thank y'all all for coming.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Overby.
Let me start out by saying, for our staff here on Selma, thank you for everything you do. I appreciate it. It don't go without being seen, and all the good that you're doing for us. Now, we know there's some things that slides by, but overall, I'm really pleased with the staff. Citizens, I'm very pleased with you also living here in Selma, being part of this town, helping this town grow and be what it is. It takes all of us to make this happen, and not just one or two. I thank you for the police department. You're doing awesome. I appreciate that. But that, you guys are pretty busy out there. You keep the blue lights going on 301 for speeders. And I like that. So, matter of fact, I wave at you every time I go by. But I really appreciate it. I hope that you're seeing things that are changing, things that are being done. And again, thank you very much for everything you do for us.
Councilman. And report recommendations, I believe, do we have a couple of resolutions for, we have them on hand? We got a few business items to clean up with some resolutions. Perfect. Thank you so much. Very cool. I gotta give Dalton an extreme compliment. I call him, I'm like, hey, we got this one thing we need to take care of real quick. Magic. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So first, we need to adopt a resolution designating our North Carolina League of Municipalities voting delegate for a vote that is coming up here in short order. I think we need to designate one from year to year as they make votes for League of Municipalities matters. With that, I recommend that voting delegate be Mayor Pro Tem Joe Scarborough. So do I have a motion to adopt a resolution designating Mayor Pro Tem Joe Scarborough, our North Carolina League of Municipalities voting delegate?
So moved.
Second.
You're not interested? Any discussion?
It's good enough.
All those in favor?
All
Aye.
right.
Very cool. And we're gonna double duty you today, sir.
All right.
Sorry. First and foremost, former Mayor Cheryl Oliver has been serving as our Johnson County Economic Development Advisory Board member for the last few years, even after her time as mayor came to an end, serving her community above and beyond. She is stepping down from that position after February, and we will need to appoint a representative to the Johnson County Economic Development Advisory Board. And I suggest double duty for Mayor Pro Tem Joe Scarborough. Do I have a motion to approve a resolution appointing Mayor Pro Tem Joe Scarborough, our representative to the Johnston County Economic Development Advisory Board?
So moved.
Second.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Rock and roll. Thank you, sir. We also have a petition brought to us by Mr. Michael Gherkin. Brought this to our attention, I believe, at our Thursday meeting, that the folks around West Walnut, the corner of West Walnut and West Elizabeth Street, would like a three-way stop signs erected at that corner. I am a fan of stop signs all over the place. If it's next to your house and you want people to slow down, that's a fantastic way to go. So with that being said, do I have a motion to instruct staff to erect three-way stop signs at the corner of West Walnut and West Elizabeth Street?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion there? All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Gherkin, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Very much appreciate you. And we also have a request from the Islamic Center. They are the owners of the property at 107 West Waddell, where I believe they've accrued a few fines related to code enforcement, and they are requesting that we waive those fines as they are looking to sell the property. So I don't think there's any action to take here. I think there's just some instruction to give on how that could possibly work. We could waive those fines, but as we did in previous properties, we would have to be, we'd have to approve of the buyer and the buyer's purpose for that property for us to waive those fines related to code enforcement. Or if you get the property cleaned up to proper standard, particularly for the historic district, and give us a rundown of the work that has been paid for related to that cleanup, we might consider waiving those fines related to code enforcement as well. I think otherwise we just can't blanket waive fines without any information beyond that. So that's just for information. If we would share that with the folks that own that property, and we'll go from there. But just to ask the question and to make sure that we are aware of the desires is fantastic. Just a note on this agenda, I don't believe we are going into closed session this evening. No closed session? Thank you. Very good, and I got a statement here. We've had a decently fast meeting tonight. I think we'll make it in under an hour. Statement that I want to share with you. I'm going to try to make at least a decent statement at the end of each meeting. And this one, quite frankly, is for the benefit of staff, because I want everybody to be very clear on where we're going as we go forward. Selma, North Carolina. The right stuff is happening. I hear a new antique and glass vendor is coming to us from a nearby community. I see Combined Minds Tattoo Parlor and Wagger's Dog Groomer have opened up shop down the street. The establishments look great. They join Hidden Temple Toys and Quantum Toad, The Vault, as part of a niche shopping experience that brings a new dynamic to our marketplace. I see new homes being built where vacant once stood. I see community pride in the faces of my neighbors as they realize what is happening here in our community in Selma, North Carolina. Eastfield and beyond. The new mills are coming here, and the new mills hills are being built. Our rebuilt town now contains splendid old and spectacular new. The crossroads of tradition and innovation is alive and well. It's thriving. We have come a long way on the path past the old challenges. New opportunities lie ahead on this narrow path of success. The town of Selma, our government, our organization is impressive. The town of Selma, our government, our organization must improve every day to meet the needs of the new opportunities. How we did things 150 years ago, 50 years ago, 10 years ago won't work for what is coming. How we did things last year won't work if we want to continue to have the right stuff happening. We are in a different place now. There's a universal understanding in this town that things are changing quickly. We are in the process of building an organization that can effectively anticipate and quickly respond to this new, fluid environment. A triangle, the strongest shape in nature. Our organization is being reorganized into a triangle with fewer gaps. So there is no longer the occurrence of too many departments reporting to one individual. We have introduced deputy town managers into the system. The information overload that an individual can experience when left with too much direct responsibility is not productive to a growing organization. We have watched several town managers fail in a stagnant organization that was not built for success. The council is to organize city government as prescribed by 160A-146. We are taking on that responsibility. Within this stronger organization, we need people that want to do more than work for the town of Selma. We need people that want to succeed for the town of Selma. Success is delivering on the promise of providing an outstanding small town experience coupled with the amenities of an economic hub for industry, technology, and commerce by delivering exceptional services to our citizens and community stakeholders. Our staff need to understand that as staff, you follow the instructions that come down through the chain of command of this Town of Selma organization. There are approximately 7,000 opinions that must be considered in the Town of Selma. If you live in the Town of Selma as an eligible voter, your opinion about how our community progresses must be considered. Think about it. If our citizens do not want us to provide an outstanding small town experience, coupled with the amenities of an economic hub for industry, technology, and commerce by delivering exceptional services to our citizens and community stakeholders, we will not. If our voters wanted a town that had little to nothing going on, no businesses, no industry, that is what we would strive for. Thankfully, that is not the case, and our mission is clear. Once the citizen consensus is gathered and our path is set, it does not matter if staff believe we should do otherwise. The distillation of 7,000 opinions in combination with the legislative actions of our council is what must be represented by the mayor. It is my opinion, which carries the weight of 1/7,000th, that every single opinion, no matter the carrier's age, race, wealth, or creed, matters. If our council comes to staff for their opinions based on the expertise that staff have in a particular subject, staff should take the opportunity to share clear, accurate, and appropriate opinions. Staff should share clear, accurate, and appropriate opinions when you see council headed down the wrong path or needing guidance. When building policy and creating legislation, council has the ability and the right to accept or dismiss staff opinion without explanation. I believe this council is always willing to listen. We have an obligation to respond to the consensus opinion of our Town of Selma citizens. Consensus opinion means the opinion of a significant percentage of the Town of Selma population. Expertise is an important word in this conversation. Simply put, our staff should know what they are doing and what they are talking about to ensure we get the desired results. Have the knowledge and the facts. If you don't have the answer, be willing to seek the correct answer. I don't know can never be the entirety of a response. We may not have the right answer right now, but we will get the correct answer and we will get it right. We will provide an impressive foundation for our business owners. We will provide an impressive foundation for industrial partners and give our citizens a foundation that can provide for a first-class quality of life in Selma, North Carolina. We will ask how we can assist our stakeholders and partners that are not our citizens. But our government strives to meet the demands of our citizens. Our entire staff needs to understand who they work for. Our staff works for our Town of Selma citizens. You will see a lot of interesting ideas and opinions in the media, and particularly on social media. Armchair coaching and armchair quarterbacking have never won a Super Bowl. We do not mind if people vent frustrations on social media platforms. We do mind if uninformed conversation affects the progress of our community. We do mind if uninformed conversation affects the progress of our community. We all, staff through to the top of our government, must encourage people to seek actual information and get a true understanding of what makes our organization successful. It is our responsibility as members of the Town of Selma organization to ensure nonsense has no effect on progress. Staff, do not waste your time with nonsense. If you are not sure what nonsense is, you feel free to ask anytime. Council is impatient when it comes to nonsense. Mayor Pro Tem Scarborough, a generally patient human being, has no time for nonsense when it comes to safety. Councilwoman Whitley isn't hearing conversations about allowing a dirty and disheveled Selma, North Carolina. Councilman Overby does not tolerate inefficiency when it comes to our operations and equipment. If a staff member brings nonsense to this organization once, it might be a mistake. If a staff member brings us nonsense twice, it is a problem. If a staff member brings us nonsense thrice, we don't have any more time for nonsense. Do not allow nonsense to fester in our organization. If you cannot follow or do not want to follow the marching orders in Selma, North Carolina, that is okay. You do not have to and will not work for the town of Selma. If nonsense is your mode, you do not want to work for the town of Selma. No nonsense must be part of who we are. We are developing procedures, protocols, and practices that will continuously improve our town of Selma culture. We are looking at what has worked for successful organizations, and we are taking those ideas. Here is an example as a meeting protocol suggestion that is a combination of Elon Musk, that guy catching rockets with chopsticks, with Jeff Bezos, that guy you probably ordered something from recently, and a little bit of Mark Zuckerberg, that guy who is making money off of nonsense for flavor. Whether or not you agree with their goals and methods, you cannot argue with their results. As a recommendation, I suggest 10 rules for meetings. Keep meetings short and to the point. Meetings drain the energy of an organization. Long, time-consuming meetings set the cultural context, waste time, and impact the way people work throughout the rest of the working day, week, month, year, etc. Short, sharp meetings that are on point are more productive and create a work culture that is fast and on point too. Every meeting should have a specific purpose and objectives to achieve. Avoid large meetings. In meetings, there is one person at a time talking, and it's only that one person who is generating ideas and creating business value. Everyone else is listening. Get rid of all large meetings unless you are certain they are providing value to the whole audience, in which case, keep them very short. Ditch frequent meetings. Meetings are not a substitute for work. They are not something that should be scheduled or frequent. Even in government, we fail at that often. Unless you are dealing with an extremely urgent matter, we don't need to schedule a meeting every second of the day. Leverage information and technology. Use digital tools and have data-driven discussions, base conversations and decisions on data and evidence to enhance collaboration and efficiency. I love this one. This is an Elon Musk thing here. Walk out if you're not adding value. It's not rude to walk out of a meeting. That's a town of Selma thing now. It's rude to stay and offer no value or be expected to stay and waste your time. Time is money. Walk out of a meeting or drop a call as soon as it's obvious you aren't adding any value. Avoid acronyms and technical jargon. Excuse me. This is not specific to meetings, but it shows up at the worst in meetings. Use simple language that is commonly understood. Do not overcomplicate. Use direct communication. This is going to be an interesting one. Rather than report your concerns through your management, speak directly to the person you need to speak with to get work done. Ricky Stewart called me today. Said, boss, what color do you want that room? I said, Ricky, white. Okay. And the only reason I knew what color to paint is because I asked Councilwoman Whitley. Okay. Communication should travel via the shortest path necessary to get the job done, not through the chain of command. Circle back through the chain of command after the appropriate communication occurs to ensure the proper outcome. No matter what, get your marching orders from your direct supervisor. If y'all got questions about that, tweak it. Let me know. Focus on problem solving, not discussing. There are only a few good reasons for having meetings. Generating ideas and solving problems are two of the best. And the right structure and facilitation to keep focused on problem solving. Regular council meetings are for the legislative results of work and deliberation. Open forums are for public chit-chat. High standards. Maintain high standards for preparation and participation to ensure productive discussions. Know what you are talking about before you walk into a meeting. Follow-up actions. Assign clear responsibilities with due dates to ensure decisions lead to tangible results. The desired result is the responsibility of this individual or this department by this date. As needed, we will outline and update the values and procedures for our organization to ensure a continuously improving culture. That process starts today. Culturally, we are now a competitive organization. We want Selma, North Carolina to have the best and be the best. We want the best businesses here in Selma, North Carolina. We want the best industries here in Selma, North Carolina. The best fire department is in Selma, North Carolina. The police department is amazing in Selma, North Carolina. By the way, the town of Selma now has a fully staffed police department with 27 sworn and 28 total. Ooh. Our public services are impressive. Customer service is great in Selma, North Carolina. Parks and Recreation is improving. Amazing improvement has happened in the last 4+ years. I view July 25, 2020 as the low point for Selma, North Carolina, the low point that we are coming back from as a community. Many of the staff that were here in 2020 are not here now. Frankly, this rapid pace of improvement is hard to keep up with. There are 2 staff members in this room that have been here since well before 2020 and continue to impress every day. Chief Jamie Hughes now leads our Selma Police Department. I don't need to bloviate about the difference in our police department over the years. Everyone sees it. We can feel it. The incredible improvement is obvious. Keep going. Chief Philip McDaniel has built, maintained, and continuously improves our Selma Fire Department. I don't need to talk at length about the fantastic that is our fire department over the years. Everyone sees it. We can feel it. The incredible is obvious. Chief, keep going. I do need to make mention of our interim town manager and deputy town manager, Chief Philip McDaniel. Time has flown, and I have no idea how long you have been handling the manager business for us in the town of Selma. You saw a fire, and you did what stellar firefighters did. You assessed the situation, and you took action. You put out in a fire. For that, you get praise, you get compliment, and you have the admiration of this council. You've even picked up some haters. A sure sign of success is when certain folks are hating. For what it is worth, there are people in this world that talk junk about puppies. There are really no words that can accurately express the extreme amount of gratitude the community, Selma and beyond, owes you. Thank you, Chief Philip Dan. I believe we will be able to remove the interim town manager tag from your expanding list of tags at the end of this month. We have a guest with us today that has agreed to become town manager of the town of Selma. We are looking forward to you joining our team, and we are excited about you making a positive impact on our community. Ms. Carter, you will have two stellar Town of Selma deputy town managers in Ms. Leanne Blanton and Mr. Philip McDaniel working with you. This council does not want you to just work for the town of Selma. We want you to succeed in, and we want you to succeed for the town of Selma. Together, we are the crossroads of tradition and innovation here in Johnston County. As a community, we must understand the exciting challenge and the amazing opportunity that comes with the path we have taken. We are on the move in Selma. Let's keep going. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I missed it by a few minutes, guys. I'm sorry.